everyone, welcome to this video about weathering your prop or NERF blaster. Okay, pause. Weathering? In this context, weathering is a decoration technique in which you make something new look like it's old and used. At my work as escape room decorator and builder, a big part of my job is weathering new furniture and props like it's used for ages. Recently I gave this NERF blaster a very nice aluminium base coat, but this is still a little bit boring. So today I'm going to add some colory details to the blaster and give it a nice weathering makeover. So at the end of this video, this blaster will look like I fought some epic battles with it. I want my NERF blaster to look like it's used a lot and it's got damaged in some fights. So I'll start my weathering process by damaging the blaster with a bread knife. Yes, you heard it right, a bread knife for some epic battle damage. I try to get some deep cuts in the plastic so it will be really easy to paint the cuts nicely later on. Before I can really start weathering, I like to bring some color in my blaster by adding some blue parts. I just grabbed the blue paint I had still lying around from another project, decided where I wanted to add some blue and painted it on with a brush. If you can't decide where you want your colory parts, just Google some examples. There are some lovely painted foam blasters on the internet which you can use as inspiration. When my colored details are dry, I can finally start weathering my NERF blaster, and I'm going to use a matte black paint for that, and later will also add some brownish colors. I like to use airbrush paints for my weathering because they are already thin, so they will easily find their way into the cracks and deeper layers of the blaster. But you can also use, for example, some acrylic paints and make them more thin by adding some water. But before I will go all out with the black paint, I'm going to damage the blaster some more with sandpaper. I use a sandpaper with 150 grain for it. I start by sanding all the blue parts I just painted on. I make sure every bit is touched by the sandpaper, so all the shine of the blue paint is gone. Besides that, I completely sand away some blue parts, especially the parts on edges, so the metal base color will pop out again. This way you get the idea the blaster is used that long that the paint has worn off. Make sure you don't sand too hard, because you will also sand the metal color away and you want to keep that color. At some places I also stroke the metal with the sandpaper, especially around the places where I made deep cuts with the bread knife. This makes the next painting step easier. With a brush I paint a lot of black paint on the blaster. I cover almost everything and especially go into the cuts and corners with the paint. Almost immediately I wipe most of the paint off again with a tissue. This way the black paint stays in the deeper areas, the cuts and the corners, but you wipe it off of the rest of the blaster. All the little cuts you made with the sandpaper become visible and you get the damaged look you want. The more black you leave on the blaster, the dirtier and more used it will look. I'm gonna add a little bit of brown in the same way as I added the black paint. I use a mix of two types of brown color to get a bit of a rust color. I paint it on, give it a couple of seconds, and then wipe most of the paint off again. In this way you get the effect like there once was real rust on it, but someone tried to get it off. If you want real rust on your prop or blaster, I recommend to use a patina instead of the paint. Look at my previous vlog how you can add some realistic rusty details. For now I just use the paint because I merely want a vague rust residue than real rust. If you put all the pieces together, this is how it looks like in the end. And I think I'm in love. It's so shiny but damaged at the same time. This blaster is going to be part of a sci-fi power armor I'm making, and I'm also making vlogs about that creation process. So if you don't want to miss those vlogs, please subscribe to my channel. And if you excuse me, I'm off to some epic NERF blaster battle. See you guys next time!